I would have said, I hope I never see anyone. You know what I mean? Like, blind me with the light. Like, I just want to get up there. But I've learned that I was trying to monologue on stage, and that's not what stand-up is. So now I like to be able to see people because I like to, like, see... if something's not working, can I pivot and try something else? Or, other times where like, it seems like it's not working, but it's really killing with like these 3 people that I'm seeing. It's like, maybe I'll just keep going because like they really like it. And I'm so glad that you brought up that idea of the silence sometimes being a good thing, because that's something I've struggled with probably in like the second half of, my last 3 years. There'd be times where I'm like, wow, I was bombing because everyone got so quiet. And then I kind of like look back on it and I'm like, but they were very engaged. They were very engaged. And I think that I would like to get more towards storytelling. So some of my jokes tend to have like some longer setup, some more storytelling. So it's also kind of like getting comfortable with the
Do you look back
the long
on
game.
Your own? Yeah. Or did someone mention to you, maybe sometimes that silence means positivity?
I think maybe someone mentioned it to me once,
it wasn't Cam,
and
because
so I started thinking about it. But a lot of times it'll be in the form of like me listening to my recording, coming back, because I'll think that I'm bombing, but then I'll be like, well, no, when someone's bombing, everyone's whispering or they're looking away or they're uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. If you're bombing, people aren't quietly like watching you, or like I've been working on this. Yes, Jenga. Exactly. Right. Like I've been working on a joke recently that's people aren't laughing at it.
Don't say that.
I think it's funny, but I think it's maybe again, I'm working on this idea of I'm this sweet, wholesome girl, and I'm trying to tell this joke about like my grandma swallowing, and like, that's usually the reaction that it gets. That's the reaction. So that's the reaction that it usually gets.
It's not vitamin D milk.
So I've tried this like a few times, and I was like, I guess everyone hates it. So I'm like, so are you guys? Do you not want to hear me speculate about my grandma's sex life anymore? Like, is that not okay? And then people are like, no, we want to hear more.
Now I want to know.
And like twice it's happened where I've been like, all right, well, you called my bluff. I actually don't have anything else. I was curious. I was just wondering if I like really alienated you. They're like, no, we're just like on the edge of our seat. Like, did she just say her grandma swallowing?
So does mine.
They've heard that before.
Yeah, exactly. And so
like, I don't.
Now I'm pissed off because you don't have a caveat.
I'm distracted. Because I'm thinking about your grandma. And me
not
getting
like
lucky.
now, not like my 85-year-old grandma. She's still a woman.
So we're talking about when she was in her younger years.
Yeah, it was just like it was a conversation at Christmas.
When she was just a girl.
Chestnuts roasting. Yeah,
Did your grandma swallow, Natasha?
Excuse me?
That's not a real question.
I didn't think so.
Jesus, mother of Lord. And you're trying to clean up your comedy.
I've never had that problem. I've always it's always been fairly clean. So now I'm trying to like do. I obviously don't know there's no.
She's expanding.
There's no middle ground for me. It's like me and my cats, or like my grandma swallows.
I don't get shocked easily. I'm distracted right now.
Yeah,
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. That's I didn't. That's the fun thing about comedy. I didn't realize
Did she take her dentures out?
I mean, you have their full attention.
I know, right?
Jesus. This is what people think about when you're going, are they intensive?
All right, let's clean this show up.
Wait, what? We're going to take a break?
Oh, I love you. I really do love you. And, I've known you guys, like, we've been familiar with each other for a long time. That doesn't mean that we've been engaged. You know what I mean? Like, there's very few, like us, for example, we've had more interaction, not many. But, like, I don't ever forget, like, I'm in St. Pete and I look across the street and there's Katie walking and I text her, I see you. Because for me, personally, you guys are superstars. You follow what I'm saying? Like, you guys have talent that I wish Mike had.
I'm not a fucking comedian.
That's so That's so like lovely to hear. Like I would never think that of myself, and I think that's what I love about comedy. Is like I don't think of myself as being like a talented person. I'm a people pleaser, and I'm just trying to like connect, and I'm trying to tell my story and my truth and my struggles, and sometimes people connect with it and sometimes they don't.
I would like to welcome our one black listener, Amanda Wilson. Welcome.
Oh, she's half black. I mean, I'm sure she's swirl.
Swirl.
But I mean,
Thank you, Amanda.
We've known each other long enough that I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass. It's not productive. You know what I mean? Like coddling people is not. You guys are comedians, and you feel like you need to be coddled because.
Oh God,
you're
no! I
sensitive.
hope no one would ever coddle me. Do you know how embarrassed I would be if
Yeah.
I was doing this for 3 years and like everyone was like,
You're so
"She's
funny."
awful."
So now you know how
joke
Donnie,
about your grandma.
Now
again.
you know how Donnie Stopa feels. We just coddle him. Welcome to the chat board, Donnie Stopa.
Hey, Donnie.
Truly my nightmare.
Who's Stopa?
I think being a career open micer is my nightmare.
And what's
No offense, career.
the
open
hardest thing
micers.
about so open mics? I've been to a shit ton of them. We all know this, right? I've been to a shit ton of them. I know what the crowd is. I know who's there. Like, how hard is that for you sometimes when you're doing an open mic in front of people that have heard that over and over and over? Does it feel so much better when you've recycled one or revamped one and you get a natural reaction from the people that have been doing this for weeks?
For me, I'm at a point where if I'm at an open mic, I'm doing new stuff. I've been really fortunate, and I only like the last 8 months. Like this is not like a long part of my career, but I've been very fortunate that I've had at least 2 shows per month somewhere where it's some sort of like a
Not
an open mic. Yes, I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm doing these really
that's-
amazing
I'm
shows.
Kaiti motherfucking McCoy.
Yeah, like it might be a bar show or whatever. So that's where I'm doing my set. Open mics now are
practice.
Yes, and it's trying
should
new
be, though.
things and doing so. Like I'm actually kind of having a bit of like. Almost like a renaissance with my open micing, because first when I was doing open mics, it's just practicing, finding something that works, finding my voice, practicing that stage presence. And now I'm at that point where I can kind of do like tangents or rants at an open mic, or I have a premise and I've really not really written anything for it, but I'm going to go to an open mic and like work it out. And because I'm not afraid of bombing as hard or as much as I used to be.
Or as much as Matt Williams.
When I first started, it's like I was so terrified of bombing because I didn't want anyone to then know me as the person that was always like really bad. So it was always
That's what open mics are for.
absolutely yeah.
That's generally not the goal.
And of course, that's what an open mic is for. That's so easy to say to someone who's been doing it for a couple of
Sure.
years. But when you're brand new, bombing is the worst. And I would write out 5 minutes and practice it over and over by myself before I even went to an open mic. And I mean, like the open mic at Dunedin Brewery, like very low stakes, you know what I mean? But like I would have like this memorized 5 minutes. And one of like the best like backhanded compliments that I got from John J. Murray, he was like, "You're sounding so much more natural on stage. You used to just be like a robot and just recite stuff." And I was just like, you didn't have to say what I used to be like. You could have just been like, "You're doing good now."
Yeah.
And you didn't have to be like, "You used to be terrible."
No, but you needed
Natasha-
the reference.
Natasha,
yeah,
on
no, it was
that note,
helpful. Yeah.
3 years, 5 years, like it doesn't seem like a long time in between, but in a field like what you guys are experiencing, that is a long time. 2 years is a long time to develop
Lots
and
of
learn.
growth,
And
absolutely.
So, like at 3 years, were you doing a lot more open mics than you are now? Like at this point,
I don't know. I think
it's not.
But
It doesn't.
then I can say honestly, like when I was a couple years ago, I've always loved open mics. I'm okay. I don't know. I think maybe because I have like the improv background first, like the idea of like failing once I attach to that and taking risks. It still hurts and you still feel stupid and you still feel dumb in front of people you're trying to impress. But like, I go for that. Like I dig riffing at open mics. I will bring jokes I'm working on, but the joy for me is that it's so low stakes for me at open mics that I get to interact with people in the weirdest or most natural of ways, and it's 5 minutes of anything could happen, and I dig that shit.
And here's a good question. Here's a good question for you say to myself. What the fuck
I'm so good at this.
Right, where'd that arrogance fucking come from? So
we're gonna start asking you questions.
Kind of on. I mean, that's like kind of on brand for you.
you're just calling me a dick. Thank you. I appreciate you, Katie.
You've applauded your interview skills.
I've appreciated your applauding of them.
I appreciate you appreciating me. So that's what he said.
Thank you for being you, Katie.
Thank you for thanking me.
Who decided to have girls in here?
I love it when Katie speaks corporate. It's very on brand, Stan.
I love it when guests are.
We'll circle back about that after the show.
That was a clap back.
Now.
Clap back.
What does that mean?
It means clap back. It means I'm going to clap back.
Like, so if you clap at me, I got to clap back at you?
No, it means I'm going to refer back to something that happened earlier.
Is that what it's called?
Like if you try and say something salty to him, he's going to like throw right back at you.
Clap back, call back.
It's called a clap back?
It was like in the 90s, it's like, I'm rubber and you're glue.
That's right.
Oh,
Sticks and
you
stones,
get all
bitch.
that in a bag of chips. I got this.
No, the bomb. I mean, yeah, that one.
Jesus Christ. So 5 years.
Don't you feel crunchy like a pickle in a jar?
I felt stupid all my life. This shit don't change. So 5 years. What's the biggest difference between when you started doing comedy and now for you, as far as community goes?
Actually, in terms of how far community goes, when I first started, I think I wanted so much. I felt like it was such a risk to like fitting in was so risk heavy. Like I'm naturally very much like,
point.
like I'm not like, it's really hard for me to like.
Isn't that weird?
Connect with people in like a party or a networking type
Did you start
setting.
in the Bay Area?
No, I started like not here, like in
Okay.
Chicago. And,
Thanks for keeping up.
and I just
was
like naturally,
clap
it's so weird the difference between like my natural world, which is like being outside and walking in the park and like playing with birds or something, or like reading a book, and then like stand up is just like I'm here. But most of the work I truly feel that is hard for me isn't the writing. The writing's hard, but it's fun and I love it.
It's the delivery.
It's the networking with people.
Yes.
It's the showing up for hours before and hours afterwards and showing that you care, which I love that. It's authentic and I'm okay, but like it takes so much, like it takes a lot of energy and it takes a lot of focused energy and you do have to be like Katie was saying before, like that concept of like all or nothing. It's almost like for me, that's how I see the networking and dealing with people. So that's always been a struggle for me and something that I force myself to try and do better at all the time.
Very interesting.
It's so hard.
Seriously, I've interviewed a lot of.
Well, I feel the same way. I feel like I had maybe a slower start than other people that I've seen.
You feel like you're slower than them too.
Thank you. Because I don't connect with people immediately very well. I feel like everyone's first impression of me is always, it's never how, who I really am. For probably the first year that I was open micing, I didn't talk to other comedians. I would just, I would sit and wait. I watched everyone and I do think that gave me a good service. I was never like out hanging out with everyone. I was like, once I've proven myself as funny, then I'll get to know these people.
I'll be a debutante.
Well, it
2 more years.
It took a long time, so I always waited till like people approached me first, and I see other new comics that like really get into like the social aspect a lot faster, and they, you definitely get more opportunities from that because people book their friends, they book the people who they like. But I've always been like that my whole life. I'm always like the last person to join the group. I always think of myself, I'm very much, that's why I'm a cat person.
When you accept me, I'll be there.
Well, it's like I've been watching you guys for a year. Yes, it's like I've been watching you. Now I feel like comfortable. It's like I pick one person that I feel comfortable like sliding up to and being like, "Hey, you want to be my friend?"
It's funny, listening to what you guys are saying and the music scene where we have a lot of music guests that come in here. And when they have shows, they always bitch about the bands that are opening up that don't stick around. And what you're talking about is the networking
It's the
part.
same thing,
So
yeah.
it's very interesting to hear the 2 points of view.
But we're weeding them out.
We are, and you guys are too. You're the one, and girls, excuse me, are stepping up and staying behind and supporting the fellow